Fbg Butta found himself back on the stand once more. In the prior session, he grappled with the decision of whether to cooperate and testify against the Oblock members. Initially, he portrayed a stance of complete unawareness, claiming no involvement in any criminal activities with the Oblock group. He asserted that there had been no contact from them for many years, distancing himself from any association. However, this approach left many disappointed, as his lack of candor was evident to those observing the proceedings. Apparently, the dissatisfaction with his previous testimony weighed on him, prompting introspection overnight. Consequently, when brought back to the stand the following morning, he altered his approach. This time, Fbg Butta decided to reveal some information, explicitly mentioning individuals he had knowledge about. He affirmed his awareness regarding King Von's involvement in KI's killing and also implicated KI in the lethal shooting of someone from Oblock, shedding light on a story that had remained ambiguous. Through his testimony, Fbg Butta directly implicated KI in the fatal shooting of O, which provides a concrete narrative that was previously uncertain. Moreover, he implicated T-Roy in the killing of Lil Del, disclosing his knowledge of these incidents. However, despite dropping these names and acknowledging his awareness of these murders, he refrained from providing extensive details or elaboration on these matters during his testimony. Fbg Duck's situation with Oblock was revisited by Fbg Butta as he delved into the historical rift between Oblock and STL 63rd. This was the focal point where Fbg Butta chose to share his information, looping back to King Von, KI, and referencing the past conflicts involving the O and KI. Many followers of the drill scene and fans of Fbg Duck are interpreting Fbg Butta's actions as a deliberate and calculated move. They believe he had ample time overnight to contemplate his course of action. Initially, Fbg Butta resisted cooperating with the federal authorities and the prosecution, particularly concerning the pursuit of justice for Fbg Duck. However, he realized that persistently denying any knowledge or refusing to speak up on the court stand could lead to severe repercussions. According to legal agreements, Fbg Butta had committed to providing information to the court regarding his knowledge about Oblock. Fearing potential legal consequences such as impeachment or penalties for non-compliance, Fbg Butta seemingly made a strategic decision. He understood that by continually denying any involvement or knowledge, he could face legal action from the federal authorities. He was aware that failure to disclose information could result in his imprisonment or financial penalties, considering his prior agreement to provide relevant details to the court. Fbg Butta seemed to have devised a strategy based on a loophole that some believe exists within the hip-hop industry. There's a belief circulating among certain circles that snitching on individuals who are deceased doesn't qualify as snitching. This notion draws from instances in the hip-hop community where some rappers supposedly got away with providing information about individuals who have passed away. It's been suggested that in doing so, the responsibility shifts away from the living suspects, effectively dismissing the case. Taking inspiration from this perceived understanding, Fbg Butta might have thought that by disclosing information solely about individuals who are no longer alive, he could fulfill his cooperation agreement while safeguarding himself from potential consequences. Essentially, his plan might have been to wash his hands of any liability by snitching on deceased individuals. This approach could potentially absolve him from impeachment or legal penalties for non-cooperation since he technically provided information, albeit on individuals who aren't present to face consequences. In Fbg Butta's perspective, by fulfilling his obligation to cooperate with the authorities and sharing details about individuals who are deceased, he might have assumed that he could retain the money he received while avoiding legal repercussions for withholding information. This approach could, in theory, absolve him from further charges or legal action, as he would claim to have fulfilled his cooperation agreement by revealing information about those no longer living. Fbg Butta's approach appears rather shrewd when analyzed closely. He seems to be making calculated moves to both distance himself from potential legal repercussions and improve his reputation. In the previous court session, he refrained from providing any information or snitching on anyone. However, in the recent testimony, he did share details, but notably, all the individuals he mentioned are deceased, a rather remarkable and strategic move. This ongoing saga will continue to be updated as the week progresses. Tomorrow's court proceedings, slated for Thursday morning, promise further developments. Subscribing for updates ensures staying informed about the unfolding events and who might take the stand next. There's speculation that Fbg Butta might testify again, and there's anticipation regarding potential strategies the prosecution and defense might employ. They might attempt a different approach, possibly pressuring Butta to speak about present inmates directly related to the ongoing case, particularly those from Oblock. Mickey Truth shared details about a separation order between Kenny Mack and THF during court proceedings. She mentioned how Kenny Mack appeared focused and engaged with his lawyer, while THF seemed visibly nervous. Notably, Tay was the individual who initially disclosed Duck's location, initiating the ongoing turmoil. This revelation reportedly stemmed from Duck's involvement with Tay's former partner. It's been reported that on the day of Duck's passing, Tay sent 3 laughing emojis to his ex-partner because she had chosen not to continue their relationship. Apparently, she hadn't been involved with Duck for a few years prior to these events, adding an unusual layer to the situation. Summing up Fbg Butta's recent testimony, it's important to note that while certain names mentioned in court may not be directly related to Fbg Duck's case, there's a significant amount of information being divulged by witnesses like Trench's News and Butta. This information might not only pertain to the Duck case, but could potentially be used in future legal proceedings against other individuals. It's crucial for people to consider the long-term implications of their statements, as these details might resurface in subsequent trials. The cautionary advice is to be mindful of what information is being agreed upon or admitted, as these statements could potentially have repercussions in the future. Legal proceedings might refer back to testimonies and disclosures made during this trial, even in cases unrelated to Fbg Duck. Hence, it's essential to exercise caution in the information shared and agreed upon during these proceedings. This encapsulates the key takeaways from Fbg Butta's initial day on the stand. As a side note, today marks what would have been Fbg Duck's 30th birthday. It's a moment to acknowledge and remember him, paying tribute to his legacy and influence in the scene. It seems like there are plans underway to honor and celebrate the legacy of Fbg Duck, particularly on what would have been his birthday. There's anticipation for content to be released by tomorrow morning, showcasing how STL 63rd plans to commemorate the legendary Fbg Duck. Additionally, Mama Duck is expected to have her own memorial celebration to honor her son's birthday. The content being prepared includes material related to Ruger, likely reflecting on Fbg Duck's life and impact. The team is working on editing and refining the content to ensure it's well presented and meaningful.